And without further ado, Adina!
Yay!
Thank you, Sophie. Hine matov umanayim sheverachim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim sheverachiyot gam yachad. How good it is for all our siblings to be here on this day. How good and pleasant it is to be here together with our Tivnu family in the broadest sense. Welcome, Tivnoodles, in person and on Zoom. Without you, there would be nothing to celebrate today. You are the lifeblood of Tivnu. You have created a ceremony today that speaks to your accomplishments and growth, your community, and your individuality. Each of you has made a unique and valuable contribution to this program. Welcome parents and siblings, grandparents, and other family members, and family members by choice. Thank you for bringing your Tivnuniks to this point, for nurturing them and challenging them and pointing them in our direction. Welcome co-workers and supervisors from Cascadia clusters and all our other internships around Portland and Oregon. Thank you for mentoring these fine young people, for sharing your wisdom and questions, for offering them new opportunities and new ways of looking at the day-to-day work of social justice. Welcome Tivnu staff and families and board members and supporters who keep this program going and help us continually create and recreate this magnificent experience. We are so pleased to be on this team together. How good and pleasant it is to be here together on this day. On this day, we made it. Jews have a special way, a special blessing for occasions like this, giving thanks for having reached this moment. If you feel you have been part of bringing this group to this auspicious occasion, I invite you to read along in the English and then sing along or hum along in the Hebrew for Shechianu at the top of your song sheets, which I would like to borrow from someone. Thank you. In the English, blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of all, who has kept us alive, sustained us, and brought us to this season. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Shehecheyanu v'kimanu v'higianu l'zman hazeh. Each day counts. Each moment counts. We Jews are in a countdown. Well, technically a count up. Last night, we counted the 42nd night of this count up. Beginning on the second night of Passover, Jews count the 50 days until the next festival of Shavuot. We're counting the 50 days of the barley harvest. Yay! We're also counting the 50 days the Israelites traveled between Egypt and Mount Sinai, where they received the Torah. Double yay! So we've got counting on our minds. We're also reminded of counting by this week's Torah portion. Jews around the world will read the beginning of the book of Numbers this coming Shabbat. It's called Numbers because the reading begins with the command to conduct a census of the Israelites. Well, the male Israelites of fighting age, but we'll leave that aside for now. Each person counts. We're so happy to count 24 Tivnuniks as part of Tiv 7, but beyond that, we're continually reminded that each and every one of you is important and counts. Biblical Hebrew has several words for counting, but here and later in the book of Numbers, none of those verbs is used. Instead, the text says, lift the heads of the whole Israelite community, listing their names. So not only are we reminded to refer to each person by their name and not just as a number, but the way we count is by lifting each person's head. Lift your head. What does that mean? Stand tall. Be yourself. Gain self-confidence. Be proud of who you have become. Look around you. Don't just gaze at your navel. Don't just read the news or check your phone to see what's going on and to understand what's ailing society. But look at the people around you. See them as people, as individuals. Don't just count the people who are unhoused. Learn their names. What can you learn from each individual you encounter? And furthermore, we lift up each other's heads. We don't just see our own importance, we help others see their importance as well. As Lord Rabbi Jonathan Sachs wrote, we are as important as we make other people feel. We form a community of support and nurturing and of love. I've heard it said that not all T7 Tivnuniks like each other all the time, but you've certainly come to love each other. Your resilience, your growth, your power are built on that foundation of love. As we often sing, Olam Chesed Yibaneh. This community is built on love. Now, the book of Numbers isn't called that in Hebrew. It's called B'midbar, or in the wilderness. Having left the structures and burdens of slavery in Egypt, the Israelites spent 40 years wandering in the wilderness. In the rabbi's view, according to Rabbi Kari Elitsky, the desert is a place where we can see more clearly, unencumbered by other distractions. The desert reflects freedom and uncluttered vision, allowing us to take stock of our lives and ourselves in an environment devoid of outside pressures. The routine and order of a census, of taking stock of who we are, and the strengthening of lifting up our heads works best when it goes hand in hand with the freedom of the time in the wilderness, which, as Rabbi Dorothy Richmond describes it, connotes an interim space, a knowing where you want to go and not yet being there, period of transformation. The Israelites' roundabout detour into the wilderness provides opportunities for them to learn how to become a blessing in the world. I know that these 8 months in the wilderness have not been easy for everyone, but look how you can count on each other and how we, your families, your colleagues, your Tivnu staff, your fellow Tivnoodles can count on you. Look at how you've lifted each other's heads, and look how you've come to be a blessing in this moment and as we venture forward together toward a time of greater promise. I'd now like to invite up Talia to speak about Songs of Tivnu.
Good evening, and thank you all for joining us for this very special ceremony. And in true Talia fashion, I will be starting off this ceremony and speech with a controversial statement. I like music. In all seriousness, though, Tivnu has opened me up to so much new music, but there are some songs that just stick, and those become the theme songs to different eras of this year. Given, not every person has the same songs that we find in these eras, but we did all go on the same program. So hopefully these songs will be meaningful to everyone. So let's flash back to the beginning of the year and start with an era filled with jitters from doing so many new things and meeting so many new people. And the only song that could possibly accompany it, Walk, by Cardi B, featuring Megan Thee Stallion. This song was the biggest song in the world, so it only makes sense that it was the biggest song on Tivnu, since we had not yet developed our own world. Then the wildfires hit, and we were given access to Lev's record player for the very first time. This led to a new era of cautious closeness, and feeling like we were on the precipice of something magical, but not wanting to get too excited and then be disappointed. We were very much not disappointed. This era was serenaded by Heart of Glass on the record player, and All I Want Is You from the movie Juno. After a lot of bonding, we were semi-equipped to delve into our first big challenges. Now, I won't sugarcoat this by saying this era was easy, because it definitely was not. But it did teach us a very important lesson of taking the good along with the bad. This era was soundtracked by Taylor Swift and Whip Nay Nay by Silent. It showed us that it is possible that the same shoulders used to cry on can be used to heave in laughter when Whip Nay Nay is being screamed in the living room at 1 a.m. So, we got the eras of uncertainty, cautious closeness, and challenge. Then, we took a break. Winter break, to be more specific. Until the next era of joyous reunion. So, obviously, the only song that could accompany such communal happiness was a sea shanty. More specifically, the Weller Man. This song is one that everyone could scream their heart out, and that force only served to intensify our glee at being reunited. This song was playing in my head as we gave each other bear hug after not seeing each other for a very long moment. As we fell back into the loving embrace of one another as the semester progressed, we began to embrace ourselves even more. We learned to be comfortable enough to be our truest selves around one another, exemplified by the song Montera. We allowed ourselves to act like kids and be silly while playing on the playground at night, which takes a lot of trust in each other and in yourself. The second facet is putting a bit of everything you do into a bit of yourself into everything you do, whether it was building a generator shed at construction or the parodies we made to My Axe by Insane Clown Posse, which I will not be saying today. This freedom to be ourselves led to knowing each other even better, which I personally did not think possible. This next era only deepened this understanding. So much so that we all started to become a little bit of the same person. We all became so similar that someone would start singing Levitating by Dua Lipa, featuring the baby, and 3 other people would finish it. It is an occupational hazard of this program how deep we all get to know each other. We had gone from feeling uncertain yet hopeful about the year to becoming each other's support systems in Portland to becoming ourselves. That brings us to today. I do not know what the soundtrack is right now, and I certainly don't know what it's going to be in the future. We will all have different songs that define our future eras as we march to the beat of our own drums. One thing I do know for sure, though, is that we will all be listening to these songs together. Thank you. Now, I'd like to call up Sophia to talk about organizing.
I am a weaver and a healer doing education. This was the activist label I chose for myself during an activity we did about community organizing. 9 months ago, I would have had no idea what those words meant. There was only one label in my mind. I either was an organizer or I wasn't. And in my mind, I wasn't. I cared greatly about others and social justice, but I was not the person who led marches or who could inspire others to fight for change with my words. This activity was part of an EE at the beginning of this semester about Jewish texts and organizing, and finding out our own identities as activists in the world. Adina showed us a diagram detailing different organizing strategies and types of action, and I was shocked that of the 10 types of change makers, I had only heard of 2 or 3 labeled as activists. When I looked through the types of activists, I created a label for myself as a weaver and healer doing education. It turns out that the emotional and physical support I provided all my life to friends, family, and even strangers sometimes was necessary to make change. And that it wasn't passive, it was in a way revolutionary. Taking care of our community rather than waiting for a government or dominant authority to do it subverts the very base of the oppressive system that we need them to survive. I think of a speech given by Jewish labor activist and feminist Rose Schneiderman, in which she says that people require both bread, the physical necessities that make life possible, and roses, the things that make life worth living, and that this is the difference between living and existence. Tivnu has taught me that just like the needs of humans go beyond the mere physical, the needs of justice work go beyond the ones that are the most obvious. We need leaders who can motivate the people, lead the charge, and go down in the history books. And we need the people to bring the warriors bread and comfort them with roses. The hours we've spent this semester demailing and organizing the construction site rejuvenating our spirits by singing half asleep every Shabbat. And yes, even the time we spend cleaning the kitchen is just as work, because our work could not be done without it. We are all organizers here, each and every day. And with that, I love to bring up my friend Pachi Ackerman to sing the song inspired by this speech, Bread and Roses. If you'd like to join us, the words are on the back side of your song sheet. Oops, 1 second. Sorry. Correct. I need a pitch pipe.
That's fun.
Using Emma's?
Okay.
Have you ever seen it perfect?
Great.
It's to tune your voice.
We go marching, marching in the beauty of the day. 1,000,000 darkened kitchens, 1,000 millocks gray, are touched with all the radiance that a sunlit sun discloses. For the people hear us singing bread and roses, bread and roses. We go marching, marching, we battle to for men. For they are women's children, and we mother them again. Our lives shall not be sweated from birth until life closes. Hearts starve as well as bodies. Give us bread, give us roses. As we go marching, marching, unnumbered women dead. They're crying through our singing, their ancient call for bread. Smart art and love and beauty, their love and spirits new. Yes, it is bread we fight for, but we fight for roses true. Our lives shall not be sweated from birth until life closes. Hearts starve as well as bodies, bread and roses, bread and
Now I would like to invite up Karen Shubowitz, our resident advisor, and Mish Koblenz, her partner, to sing a new song that they wrote for the cohort. So a little bit later, you'll all hear the song that we wrote at Mount Hood. But that song inspired us to begin to write this song, and then we finished it in collaboration with some suggestions from the cohort about iconic moments or experiences from Tivnu. So we hope that you will be pleasantly surprised with some of the incorporations. And we hope that you'll see some of your experience, at least some of it, reflected in this song. This is called, and the original, sorry, I forgot to say this part. The original of this song is I often hear playing in the 10th Ave Bite. I assume was also in the 13th Ave Bite first semester.
Or you might have heard it on the radio in 1996. So here we go. All right, ready?
Let's do it.
Just wait for it.
It's the Tivnu Siyyum. It's the middle of May. We got here in September, seems like yesterday. We started with quarantine for 14 days. We're here to send you off now to your very next phase. And isn't it iconic? Don't you think?
I do think.
It's like rain on construction days, Uber rides that are not COVID safe. Good advice from your RA. It's balancing life at Tivnu. We came from different places
So different.
with different lives. You packed your suitcases, wished your families goodbye. Learn to live together with compromise. Like, please move your laundry so I can do mine. And isn't this iconic?
I said it was.
Don't you think? It's Tivnu iconic. Like a clogged kitchen sink. It's like rain when you walk down Broadway. Uber rides, Latina now says it's safe. It's good advice from Bob and Jesse. Adapting to life at Tivnu. Well, Tivnu is a special place where we work at farms and churches and at the J, learning skills to make the world right. Yeah, Tivnu is a funny place where your roomies, friends, and coworkers are all the same. Community is all about sharing space. We're all sad it's over, going our separate ways. But you'll always be noodles at the end of the day.
Do you like it or not?
You'll still be building the world we're trying to create. And there's a lot to unpack there. But what a difference you'll make.
Karen.
Isn't it iconic?
So iconic.
Don't you think?
Yes.
Tivnu iconic, like a year gone in a blink. It's like rain every winter day. It's Instacart, but the order's delayed. It's urban art on Shabbos day, and you've done it all in Tivnu. Well, Tivnu is a special place. That's why we wrote this song.
I did write this.
Tivnu is a special, special place. And next song you'll sing along. So please sing along. I love it. And now we'd like to introduce Sarah, who's going to be speaking.
Arriba!
Yeah, Sarah. Thanks, Brandy.
How's everybody?
Fine.
At my bar mitzvah, I had the Parsha Shoftim, which includes the phrase Tzedek Tzedek Tirdov, or justice, justice shall you pursue. Why would Tzedek, justice, be repeated? The Torah doesn't have punctuation or capitalization, so I previously understood this repetition to be an emphasis. But being here has led me to another interpretation. The most important skill I gained at Tivnu was the ability to ask for help. I always feared asking for what I needed. I was afraid to take up space. I had the opportunity to join the program for the last half of the year. Coming in second semester, knowing that everyone already had 4 months of experience with power tools and hammers and being on a job site, I was terrified. I had absolutely zero experience in construction and no real clue what integrating into the cohort would actually look like. It was maybe my 3rd or 4th day on the job site, and I was put on this pretty important project. We were building walls on a trailer to transport rubbish. I had actually no clue what was going on, and I couldn't even conceptualize how the walls would attach. After maybe 30 minutes of trying to figure out what was even happening, I ran to Eric, our fearless construction coach, in defeat. And I told him I either needed clear instruction on my role or a new project.
He was receptive to my needs and brought me to another Tivnu who taught me how to correctly use an impact driver, a skill that was absolutely necessary every day after that at construction and set me up for a successful semester. At Circle Up later that day, Eric said he was proud of me for speaking up. He made it clear that asking for what I needed actually made the day better, not just for me, but for everyone. This transformed the way I understood advocating for myself. I no longer feel like a nuisance when I ask for help. I feel like I'm uplifting myself. Once I asked for help, I received help. I became better at construction and my work improved as I built a repertoire of skills and grew more confident in my abilities. The project I'm most proud of is a wheelchair ramp I built with my friend Maya. It was at the BIPOC camps, which is a houseless village in one of our main job sites. If I had not learned how to use an impact driver weeks before, I would not have been able to build that ramp. There was a direct link between me asking for help and being able to help others. Okay, back to my bat mitzvah, back to tzedek, tzedek tirdof. Justice, justice shall you pursue. My previous interpretation was that the repetition was an emphasis, but my understanding has transformed since joining Tivnu. What if the first justice is justice for yourself? Being able to help yourself, learning how to use an impact driver. And the second justice is justice for others, which is contributing to bigger causes like building a wheelchair ramp. Both are just as important and must be pursued. So in building justice at Tivnu, I built my understanding of what justice really means. I would now like to invite up Emma to talk about crisis and community building.
So Robert Frost's poem, Fire and Ice, begins like this. Some say the world will end in fire, and some say in ice. As a member of Tivnu's 7th cohort, I would tell him that both are equally possible. This year, our pod experienced calamity after calamity, from that pandemic to raging wildfires to unprecedented snowstorms to countless injuries to canceled trips to Costco being wiped out of toilet paper for a few weeks. But unlike Frost's poem, our world didn't end. In spite of those disasters, or maybe because of them, we emerged stronger as a cohort. Our essential challenge became, how do you build community out of chaos? Though every crisis we encountered was different and difficult and surprising, I noticed a similar pattern to our response. We're Jewish, we're always hungry, so the word comfort food took on a new meaning. When the wildfires raged on the Oregon coast, turning the sky orange and filling the air with smoke, we retreated to the kitchen. I sliced sweet potatoes into slivers while my newly made friends / housemates oiled pans and tossed the slivers with salt and za'atar, all while observing our beginning of year COVID protocols of only 2 people per room. We ate the fries, distanced, around the table, getting to know each other, or at least know who believes that sweet potato fries are a whole meal. When the ice storms hit, blanketing the city in a thick layer of slippery sludge and taking our power out as an added bonus, we once again searched for food. The Chinese takeout was ordered, but it turns out for the wrong day. So a few of our fearless peers jumped into sleds and found pizza. When Multnomah County moved to extreme risk for COVID and our protocol once again shifted to ban public transit and going into stores for non-emergencies, Cy, Matthew, and I planned Taco Tuesdays.
Taco Tuesday! Yeah!
They were dinners replete with beans, tortillas, and always a too small amount of avocados for us to nosh and practice our limited Espanol. Food became a form of control and connection. We couldn't stop each disaster. We couldn't ensure our trips would happen exactly as scheduled or even happen at all. But we could make a meal that people would enjoy. We also used it as a tool to learn more about each other. Everyone needed to slow down during meal times, and lively discussion often ensued. We are Tivnu's biggest cohort yet, and there were many emotions and experiences that we couldn't all share. But the weather and the pandemic didn't discriminate, and so our shared resiliency bonded us as a group. Though the disasters were certainly difficult for us, we were lucky. We had the privilege to have food and housing and medical care and COVID testing and so much more. Because of our privilege and the proximity Tivnu provides to marginalized communities, we were able to help others. Our construction crew formed a partnership with the C3PO camps, which were temporary houseless villages that emerged as a response to the pandemic, thanks to the tenacious advocacy of a few of Portland's nonprofits. We all helped build platforms, distance the villager homes. And members of our cohort built a gatehouse, awnings for houses, wheelchair ramps, and some beautifully decorated hand washing stations. By helping unhoused people meet their basic needs, we fought alongside them for the existence and the stability of their communities. As we move forward from Tivnu, more calamities are sure to come. Hopefully, we won't once again deal with fire and ice and disease in the same year, but we will grapple with everything from bad roommate placements to missed job opportunities to long-distance relationships to medical problems and more. Now, we have the tools to build community for ourselves and recognize when we have the tools to be community for others in the face of chaos, and do it with our sweet potato fries in hand. I would now like to invite up Steve Eisenbach-Budner, our Executive Director, to introduce the staff presentation.
I feel privileged to be on the same podium as all the speakers and singers who have come before me, I have to say. I want to start with a poem by Philip Levine. You know, I'm just going to give this trigger warning. I know some of you all love poetry, and some of you all, not so sure that poetry works for you. I just want to say there are two poems in my talk in the next couple minutes here. The second one is super short. This one will take a minute or two, but it's super like just chill everyday language, okay? So if you automatically go into some like I don't do poetry space, try not to, just see if you can just let that go for 2 minutes. Okay. So I want to start with this poem by Philip Levine. The son of Russian Jewish immigrants, Levine was born and raised in industrial Detroit, where he began working in the auto factories at the age of 14 during World War II. He came to feel that his coworkers had no voice, and around your age, he vowed that he would devote his life to helping give them one. This poem is in the program if you'd like to read along. What Work Is by Philip Levine. We stand in the rain in a long line, waiting at Ford Highland Park for work. You know what work is. If you're old enough to read this, you know what work is, although you may not do it. Forget you. This is about waiting, shifting from one foot to another, feeling the light rain falling like mist into your hair, blurring your vision until you think you see your own brother ahead of you, maybe 10 places. You rub your glasses with your fingers, and of course it's someone else's brother, narrower across the shoulders than yours, but with the same sad slouch, the grin that does not hide the stubbornness, the sad refusal to give in to rain, to the hours of wasted waiting, to the knowledge that somewhere ahead, a man is waiting who will say, no, we're not hiring today, for any reason he wants. You love your brother. Now suddenly you can hardly stand the love flooding you for your brother, who's not beside you or behind or ahead, because he's home trying to sleep off a miserable night shift at Cadillac so he can get up before noon to study his German. Works 8 hours a night so he can sing Wagner, the opera you hate most, the worst music ever invented. How long has it been since you told him you loved him? Held his wide shoulders, opened your eyes wide and said those words, and maybe kissed his cheek. You've never done something so simple, so obvious, not because you're too young or too dumb, not because you're jealous or even mean or incapable of crying in the presence of another man. No, just because you don't know what work is. Work, as the poem implies, can do many things to us. Among other things, it can make us softer or harder, more empathetic and capable of hugging someone and telling them we love them, or less so. From what I've seen, you guys are pretty consistently hugging. We even have a great blog all about that. Thank you, Talia. However loving you each came into Tivnu, it seems to me that you may be all the more so now. Certainly you've practiced a bunch. I also know that you each had a sense of what work is before this year, but I'm confident that you have a heightened understanding of it now. You've each worked tenaciously in a variety of ways, including, of course, in the sort of physical work in the backdrop of Levine's poem. But working in the material world, gaining confidence and competence in what your mind and body can create, learning to use power tools and nail and denail like nobody's business, has been just one of the many areas in which you've worked and learned. Here's a few more that some of you have mentioned to me. Working to put your politics into practice. Some of this has been through Tivnu, and much has been in your own time and through your own initiative. Working and learning to make space for others, and also to take up space for yourself when that's what's called for. Working and learning to be vulnerable and to ask for support, as Sarah spoke of just a minute or two ago. Working and learning to cook, clean, and host for a community of 23 plus. Working and learning to be respectfully open to other perspectives, even when you strongly suspect that you're right. Working and learning to balance your own emotional and physical needs with those of your roommate, the wider cohort, and with your internship responsibilities. Working and learning, like Philip Levine tries to help us do in his poetry, to see and feel the full humanity of the people in our world who we've been taught to not see. Working and learning to find and create connections to Jewish wisdom, history, ritual, and community that can nourish you, both in your efforts to create a more decent world and more generally as you move forward in your lives. May all of the work and learning that I just mentioned, along with countless other skills that I didn't know, give you a sturdy foundation as you each move on to the next step in your life. I want to draw on one more very short poem. The last one in the poet and short story writer Raymond Carver's last published work. Carver, as some of you may know, was born and bred in the Northwest, which he returned to, into a working class family and life. I hope that you feel what he describes for yourself and for others, or that you feel more glimmers of it now than when the year began. Late Fragment by Raymond Carver. And did you get what you wanted from this life? Even so. I did. And what did you want? To call myself beloved. To feel myself beloved on the earth. May you feel this belovedness in a growing way for yourself and for others. May you feel ready and more equipped to put your mind, heart, and body to work to make this belovedness tangible on this earth. So I believe the staff is joining me now here.
Don't work for Tivnu, I'm just tech.
You're basically.
So, and where I think we can go over there. Last minute choreography. What is in that box? What could Eric possibly have? Oh, it's flowers.
Yeah.
Sure.
I know.
Yes, me. They come up here on this side.
Okay.
and go back.
Perfect. Okay, I think we got it. So they kind of duck under here. Yeah. Okie dokie. So the first person we'd like to call up is Pachi. If you can't find Pachi, he is likely in a tree and definitely shoeless. Which he is right now, although he's not in a tree. He knows his way around a circ saw, an HDMI cord, and will serenade you on the piano at any hour of the day.
Talia Alpert, at just 5 feet, Talia is a force to be reckoned with. An advocate for unions, foreign films, and criminal minds, the show, not the people. She will tell you exactly what's on her mind and also tweet about it.
Hannah Banwell. Whether a composting toilet at construction or beautiful portraits around the bite, if it's a surface on Tivnu, Hannah has painted it. Hannah can turn any old anecdote into a riveting thriller and knows the third floor shower drain.
Young rep.
Thank you, young rep.
Okay.
Leo Bellman. Leo Bellman is our dungeon master, but more notably, is single-handedly responsible for the success of the tofu industry during the pandemic. You will always get a warm greeting from Leo in the kitchen, and if you're lucky, it will be followed by an impassioned speech about his distaste for the sun or his love of pugs.
Sarah Booksbaum. Sarah believes strongly in Cheez-Its, her Doc Martens, and anything you're passionate about. She will match your energy, is always up for a good pun, and shreds on the dance
Gotta hammer, guys.
Boom.
Maddie Davidson. Fruit smoothies. Come on, they're a thing of the past. Maddie will blend you up an original smoothie concoction with ingredients ranging from ginger to brown rice. She will cheerfully offer to wagon you between houses and is always up for a spontaneous bike ride, swim, or middle of the night existential conversation.
Hi, Dina.
Hi, Kim.
Hi.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
Tivnu Siyyum. There we go.
Just leave that there.
Lev Eisenbach Butler. From shingles to sheets, if it's made out of wood, Lev can build it. When he's not woodworking, you can find Lev excitedly gasping about automobiles we pass on the highway or offering to help eat the food you cook. Elijah Fryman.
Elijah!
Never quite know if Elijah is reciting an obscure mid-90s punk song lyric or just messing with you.
Yeah.
Elijah will happily talk with you about Portland's mutual aid scene or the newest book he found on the street, always with a huge grin.
Hannah Jablons. You can always count on Hannah to show up with her party planning skills and funky pants. She makes fast friends with whoever she meets and will excitedly talk with you about anything from prison abolition to horseback riding. Hannah Jablons, everybody.
I love you guys.
Is that Louis Holly? Is Louis Holly?
One of them.
You got
Olivia Kaplan. Who needs a hairstylist or a piercer when you have Liv in her salon in the third floor bathroom? She's a wonderful artist and baker, full of optimism and patience. And if you live with her, you just might wake up in the morning to find new paintings drying or a delicious loaf of freshly baked banana bread.
That's my wife. I'm gonna build so many things with this
Raquel Kelly. Hailing from the great Orange County, Raquel is a strong advocate for a full Kabbalat Shabbat and her comfy, albeit not at the same time. If you find yourself in a room with Raquel, her contagious laugh and energy will undeniably boost your spirit. And Raquel, we will mail you your hammer.
Avery Krantz Fire. Who needs Dr. Fauci? You, Avery. He is up to date on every medical study and can strum you a beautiful ballad on the guitar. Avery is great to talk through anything on your mind, whether California culture or social justice. Not to mention, he bakes the best gluten-free bagels in town.
Randy Landis. Randy is so optimistic about the weather that you could very well find her wearing shorts in the middle of February. She loves hammocking and hot sauce. And if you're feeling down, Randy will always offer you a hug and cheer you up with a Beatles album or the Mamma Mia soundtrack.
Isaac Levy. When it comes to our groceries, Isaac defies the laws of economics. He had a right. He makes 80 avocados cost less than a typical price of 10. If he's not on phone with Instacart, he is always down to play Jewish geography with your grandma on FaceTime or go for a long walk to talk about personality tests.
Mickey Lieberman Farah. You can never predict what color their hair will be, but it's guaranteed that Mickey can pull it off. He's an embroidery wizard, has the best one-liners, and when Mickey has Bon Ami in his hand, no dirty dish stands a chance.
Maya Man.
Maya!
Maya will always greet you with a friendly hello, but not before her daily cup of coffee and avocado toast. After a long bike ride, you can often find her walking through the house with her helmet on, listening to Taylor Swift or talking about the merits of goat cheese and the dangers of other white condiments.
Sophia Nachmanoff.
Sophia.
A walk between the houses is never boring or slow with Sophia. From Yiddish theater to queer theater to any kind of theater at all, Sophia will teach you all you need to know. You can find Sophia and her cottagecore aesthetic in the kitchen, baking a cake or braiding challah, always up for a conversation or a hug.
Emma Nathanson. From long hikes to daily runs, Emma gets energy from the sun, and we all get energy from her. Our in-house plumber and swing dance enthusiast, Emma will discuss Jewish feminist history, John Mulaney, and any other podcast she wants with you.
Matthew Nekritz. If you arrive at the 10th Avenue house, Matthew will be standing in the kitchen, cooking up something you haven't heard of. He's always ready to let a passerby know the most recent updates on Biden's foreign policy plan, or give you his thoughts on Matisyahu's character.
Aww. Everything's okay, I think.
Christ is averted.
No, not mine.
Maybe you need a hammer. It fixes everything, right? Sophie Raskin Wood. Sophie wakes up each morning on a mission to change the world one color-coded to-do list at a time. Equipped with a huge grin and a fiery spirit, she's a master gift giver, pesto aficionado, and keeps our house clean, functional, and full of beautiful art.
Zoe Rotman.
Zoe Rodman!
Zoe will be quietly working, and before you know it, She will have whipped you up a gourmet tilapia dinner with a frozen strawberry dessert, or have built a shelving unit with no complaints. She gets it done with patience and a contagious smile. And was one of our raft guides this year.
Yeah. Zoe and Shelly, iconic duo.
Yeah, where's Hannah Sager? Hannah will come home from the farm covered in dirt with a huge smile on her face. She can read Megillah, cook you dinner with no recipe, and paint you a beautiful impressionist landscape. She will draw you into conversation with her quick wit, and then she will literally draw you. Me too. Bella Saunders. In any given conversation, it is likely that Bella is speaking up, laughing loudly, and probably mentioning her planned commute. She is a passionate vegan who is always excited to play with worms and offer her support to fellow Tivnuniks with hugs, smiles, and a tactfully timed.
Sigh, shine. You can always count on Sigh for a meme about someone our cohort Zoomed with 8 months ago. Or to instantly put a grin on your face with his deadpan humor. He is our personal EMT that is always on the clock.
Wait, he's an EMT?
He is a passionate advocate for Taco Tuesday.
Oh, Taco Tuesday.
And when it comes down to it, it's just built different.
Sad.
Yeah, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, please stay up there. Oh, I want to invite Bella and Sophie up for a special, totally surprise presentation.
Oh my God.
Over there.
Who knows?
Hi, everyone. We just want to take a moment to thank our very special staff. This was just a small token of our appreciation. We love you all very much. Eric started off this year and every year on Tivnu with a gaggle of excited 18-year-olds, the vast majority of whom have never used a power drill, much less an electric chop saw. And yet, sure enough, with incredible patience, consistent optimism, and unwavering trust, Eric has guided and coached us through platforms and gatehouses, shelving units, and composting toilets, all for Portland's unhoused community. Eric, we appreciate your idioms, your ability to maneuver around any garbage truck, and your constant support and encouragement. We will all miss you dearly, and remember, daylight is burning, kind of.
All right. Ethan
Blank.
Ethan wakes up bright and early every morning on a mission. He enthusiastically provides us insight on anything from meditation to obscure root vegetables to economics to biking and communal cooking. Ethan, we are grateful for your sincere compliments, your wide array of knowledge, and your passion for Milk Run. We wish you luck in your future endeavors, and we expect discounted vegan ice cream when your brand goes global.
Ethan Russell.
It is not uncommon to find Karen in the basement, legs crossed in her black swivel chair, sipping tea, thoughtfully in discussion with a teeth noodle at 9:30 p.m. Karen, your openness and generosity with your time and knowledge is truly unmatched. You push us to have new perspectives, seek out different opinions, listen more intently, hold ourselves and each other more accountable, and live more thoughtfully and purposefully in community. We are so grateful for all you have given Tivnu these past 3 years and are so excited for your next steps in social work school and beyond. We are all rooting for you.
Dozens of educational explorations, 25 internships, 23 noodles, 24, and countless weekly schedules and reminders. Adina does it all with unending patience, a quick wit, and a big heart. Adina, you have pushed us to think more critically, to question the status quo, and to engage more intentionally with social justice and our duties. No mishap, big or small, phases you, and we know you're always just a phone call or text away, ready with a listening ear and a clever joke, and for that we are so very grateful.
Whether with a mask on or not, Steve's energy and passion and sincere belief in Tivnu is infectious. Steve, we are grateful for all the hours, long days, and Zoom meetings that you spend behind the scenes working tirelessly to make Tivnu what it is. The lifelong bonds, invaluable professional and educational experiences, and unforgettable memories that we have are all thanks to your vision and continued effort and devotion. Thank you.
Give it up for the staff.
Now I'd like to invite up Hannah, Sager, to the blessing of the children and the turning of the tassel.
We have hats.
Hannah, where are the things?
Dina's, they'll be handed out. Okay. We have hats.
You want that.
When I first met you all, I had to guess what the bottom of all of your faces looked like. We all had to stay masked and distanced from each other for 10 days as we started to get to know each other from 6 feet apart. Now I know 2 things. 1, that you all have beautiful chins. And 2, that I'm extremely grateful to have been able to live with all of you closely in physical space. Our Tivnu cohort is extremely cuddly. This might be a reaction to the lack of touch over COVID quarantine at home, just the way this particular group likes to express love, or a combination of many things. Whatever the reason, cuddling sustains us all. Our physical closeness is important to our daily lives. I often walk into communal spaces to find large cuddle puddles. One of Lev's favorite well-known responses to anything is, "Do you want to snuggle about it?"
Let's look about it.
Our COVID germ pod means that we can support each other in person. Many Tivnuniks this year have accompanied friends to doctor's appointments, walked friends home late at night, and sat with friends when they needed to cry. Touch often transcends words. It reminds us that we are not alone, even when nothing we say can fix any given situation. Our community is one that is physically there, present for each other every day. When I think about leaving Tivnu, I know that the friendships will last. I also know that there will be no other year of my life where this cohort is physically living together, able to cuddle, to hug, and to sit with one another every day. So instead of crying about that, which I will definitely do later, I want to focus on being grateful for our physical togetherness right now. Hannah, Raquel, and Isaac, we wish you were with us, and we are sending so many hugs. On Friday nights for Shabbat, we like to do the blessing of the children. This blessing that parents often do for their children on Shabbat feels like a good way to assert our love for each other, to remind each other that we are there. So even though it is not Shabbat, we are going to do it one last time together. I invite you to quietly ask for consent and then put your hands on the heads of the people next to you or in front of you so we can get a chain of everyone being connected. Okay. Take this moment to appreciate your physical presence with the people around you and think about how you can continue to support your friends as we all go off in different directions. We may not be physically present together after Tivnu, but living together has helped us really get to know each other, how we react to things, how we process things, what kind of support each of us needs. Because we know these things about each other, we can continue to feel connected, to support each other, even with distance. It might take adjustment. Hugs might need to be translated into words, hand holding into emojis. Even so, the love will continue to come through. So if you choose to, say these words with me. Yisimcha Elohim ke'Ephraim v'chim Manasseh, Yisimech Elohim ke'Sara Rivka Rachel v'Leah, Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha, Yisa Adonai panav elecha, v'yasemecha shalom. Okay, so now I'm going to invite staff to pass out our hats.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay, do it quietly. Oh. So this is what Avery and I worked on the wrap. So instead of the classic graduation cap, we chose the construction hard hat, even though these are very soft, to represent our time on the construction site and to encourage us to protect our brains, because I've learned that that's pretty important. So traditionally, you're supposed to have your tassel on the right side. If I made them right, it should be there, but make sure it's there. Everyone good?
Yeah.
All right, so move your tassel.
Personally, I think it's a fit.
Congrats to the Tivnu 7 cohort. T7, man.
This is so smart.
All right, I'd like to invite up Avery to introduce our final song.
Avery Grant's fire.
And fire. One and only.
You're missing your hat.
Okay. Me. This song, as promised earlier, is called Tivnu and Mish, and Karen and Mish wrote it and performed it at our Mount Hood talent show. And we all have loved it so much, and I sing it in my head all the time. And it's on your song sheet. You are encouraged to sing along. Please sing along. Me and Matthew and Misha are like,
Yay!
And at the very end of your time sheet, it says, repeat the bolded chorus, but we're actually going to repeat that bolded chorus before what day is it?
And also, I imagine that we're doing lunch because
And I'll cue you in when it's time for everybody to sing all together. Again. But please sing at the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to sit?
Please.
Please. Do you want? Can Avery sit on the TV or is it not?
I think so.
I think the TV is in the camera.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. So why don't you move the chair in front of us?
One moment. Technical difficulties.
Oh, I got so guitar.
That's perfect.
That's right.
Front and center.
All right, band. Ready?
Ready?
Here we go. What day is it? And in what month? Into you, the time is not real.
So fake.
I can't keep up.
Still can't.
There's so many noodles and bins of food for groups.
Mostly potatoes, actually.
It's Tivnu and Niche. That's all of the people that we get to see because of COVID-19. Tivnu and Niche. That's all of the people that we get to see. At 10:32. All of the trips that we tried to take, something ends up just not right.
I heard rafting went well.
Fires or snow, or even Corona. What could be next in the spring?
You guys made it.
It's Tivnu and me. That's all of the people that we get to see. Because of COVID-19. Tivnu and me. That's all of the people. We're the T7 crew. On good days and apocalypse too.
So many apocalypse.
We schlepped so much stuff up the mountain, so much. All 3,000 pounds. It was so much easier down that hill, am I right? We still bought too many potatoes. It's Tivnu and me. All of the people that you have to feed because of COVID-19. Tivnu and me. That's all of the people we're a gap year produced. Building with socialist views. We're gonna invite staff up to sing you the last verse. Let us just get situated here.
So situated.
All right. Here we go. It's been a great year, full of discussion. You've wrestled with so many things.
So Jewish.
Like, is there a God? And who does the dishes? And what social change can we bring? It's Tivnu and me. That's all of the people that you got to see. But now there's vaccines. A connection forever. You're the T7 crew. We can't wait to see what you do. All together now, Tivnu and me. That's all of the people that you had to feed because of COVID-19. Tivnu and me. That's all of the people we're gap year produced. Building with socialist views. Finish strong, you guys. What day is it? And in what month? In Tivnu, time has been long. Stop.
We want to invite, first of all, we want to say a huge thank you to the Tivnu Siyyum committee that planned this and decorated. My backyard has never looked like this before. It's beautiful and really brought such a We want to invite people who are on Zoom to stick around and say hi to people, and we're going to snack. Forgive us that we don't have snacks to give you through Zoom. But mazel tov, everyone. You've been amazing today.
Guys, where did the cake send us? Yay! Why am I so sad?
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Hi. Bye.
Trying to group call me?
I shared for you. I know. Oh my god.
Maddie,
Rough height difference.
I may be a friend.
Maddie, I just cried so hard.
Look, there's a high bar to be set for
Maddie, you're close.
Guys, you pop your lunch.